We are up. Let me figure out these levels. Almost there, alright. So, as most people who follow me might know, there was a new trailer for Metroid Dread today, and they showed presumably the same Chozo from like the previous trailer, but now he's in battle armor, a power suit of his own, and yeah, he looks pretty cool. And I just decided to do a fairly quick piece of him. I have like the basic sketch here, which I'm going to polish before going into inks. I want to do it pretty stylized and just reproduce the design. Yeah, still kind of learning the design here, but I have a whole references thing that I put together. So I'll figure it out as I work on this sketch. Metroid Prime soundtrack in the background. It was a very pointy design. I want to take that as kind of the center of how he's going to be stylized. And I wanted to have him standing over Samus, just for... it gives him a sense of size. What's up? Doofus the Doofus is now following. Thanks for the follow. Yes, I got to today. Hi, what's up, Godwolf? And Beastmaster. Bro, the trailer was insane. I wasn't expecting them to show that much. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I like the trailer. Game's looking pretty good. I just really hope that the one thing that you really can't tell through a trailer that I'm kind of hoping is that the game isn't as linear as Samus Returns. That they make it a little bit more flexible. But I like the dash thing. It's cool that they're doing some different movement options. But one thing they are pretty good at is the gameplay side. Like the boss battles look fun. I was just playing Hollow Knight. One of the boss battles that they showed with like the full gray kind of shows armor thing is Big Berg is now following. Thank you so much. The card thing needs to be updated. Thanks. Hi, Lag and Swag. And you guys might have noticed I didn't actually have any time, like I'm just sitting down to draw now. Like I drew the base sketch in like 5 minutes before I started the stream. I didn't really have time to do the dolls. I'll hopefully do the dolls as soon as I can finish this one, but at this point, like Metroid fan art's kind of my bread and butter. I'm kind of expected when there's like a big new Metroid thing to do some kind of fan art, so that kind of goes into the front of the line. Let me... where did I put the text thing? Here we go. Dread shows... Here we go. Yeah, hopefully, gosh, I love the dash plus all those new weapons and abilities. Also, nice new layout for the stream, bro. Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the layout as it is. I kind of settled on it now, and now the dolls are coming. By the way, the idea with the dolls is if you're a follower, as long... no, sorry, if you're a subscriber, as long as you're a subscriber, you get to have a doll on the bottom of the screen. So anyone who is currently a subscriber can just ask me for a doll and I'll do it as soon as I can. I've got a couple lined up to do that I meant to do yesterday, couldn't quite do yesterday, and then today there was this. So I'll get it done, and after that it's the doll. But yeah, the trailer looked pretty good. I don't like the new suits quite. Like the first suit is the best looking one in my opinion. For the gravity suit, well, it's presumably the gravity suit because it's purple. They kind of went crazy with the neon again. I'm not a huge fan. But it's a lot of work, best of luck. With the doll things, yeah, like not that much. Because they're so tiny on screen, I don't have to like worry that much about them, you know, looking perfect. So like it's really thick line work. I'm starting to be able to do them fairly fast. But yeah, it looks really good. It's cool that there is like a new humanoid Metroid character. For someone who does fan art for the series, it really helps. There's not just Samus and a bunch of giant monsters. Kraid's in the game. I'm hoping Ridley isn't for once. That they're going to be like satisfied with having Kraid and not go for also Ridley in every game. That Wolf has gifted a sub. Got him, lol. Thank you so much for the gift subs. That's 5 now, that's a lot. Thank you very much. So yeah, if you want this master, if you want a little doll down there, you can tell me what it is and I'll add it. I'll make a note of it and put it next in line for dolls to make. I might make like a weekend stream where all I do is dolls, just to catch up. But yeah, this is the first time where I went a week just streaming every weekday. It's not going to be something that I'm like able to do consistently, but I wanted to try it out. So yeah, I'm kinda learning the design as I go. This will be like a pretty heavy shadows, kinda ink style drawing, which I like for drawing metallic stuff. And also it's a bit faster to do than full art. There we go. And this is like this. One thing about like armors is you really have to get everything nice and symmetrical. Kind of no leeway if you don't make it very consistent, it eventually just won't click. Kinda wanna make his head a little bit bigger. Oh sure bro, I'll wait for a bit until I can actually pay for it with my own money. I appreciate the gift stuff. Oh, cool. That's valid. Basically, as long as you're subscribed, you can ask for it at any time. If you wanna wait until you get your own, that's okay too. So yeah, let me see this head, if I can make it. I'm not going to zoom in to draw the head because I want to make sure that the result's kind of readable from far away. But I like his design. Not very like typical Metroid character, but I like it. And it's cool that there's a villain that isn't like either a monster or just Samus but evil. Alrighty. And his headdress seems pretty complicated, but I'll simplify it a bit. Isn't really what these horns look like, but you can never quite get a great look at them, and this is kind of a simplified shape. At this point I should flip it. Anyone here jazzed about No More Heroes 3? I haven't really played any of the No More Heroes games actually. I am not up to date. So Evo Chozo Virgil. Can be very sure this shows is the chat. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I was actually, because like it's so big, like I can show you my reference really quick. It doesn't feel so much like let me see. Here are my references. Hi Nicholas, what's up? Here are my references that I'm looking at for him. The top of the headdress here, like I drew, because like this is a shot that pans up, so I kind of Photoshop together everything, but the pan up ends here. So I kind of had to reconstitute the top, just kind of looking at other shots, so not 100% on it. Anyway, he looks very evil lords to me with these things hanging down. I like my first thought was like that he's Chozo Ganondorf. Like his dude basically got his armor design, like he went to the mechanic or whatever who makes armors and said like, I'm evil, make sure my armor lets people know that I'm evil, okay? Because right? Like this is not a dude who thinks he's the good guy. But yeah, but he's very like giant villain. Just a child, okay, he's a weep. He's very big, things like Chozo are massive and I love it. I love that. I love he has an arm cannon. Yeah, I mean, like Samus's armor was like a Chozo armor, so I guess the idea is that it's the same kind. But yeah, Chozo, I think it was so established at this point that Chozo were really big. Like in the first games you only had statues, so you wouldn't really be able to tell like if those statues were supposed to be like their real size or they were just big because they were statues. But I feel like by Prime with the ghosts and stuff, it was like established that Chozo are really big. And I'm pretty sure they were big in like the manga and stuff like that. Virgil more like Virgino. I don't know what. Okay. Look, Virgil is the only male DMC character to canonically have had sex. Okay, because the other ones it's ambiguous. It would be pretty funny if Dante, with all his posturing, had never had sex. But I guess probably never confirmed. Oh, also I love how the other Chozo warriors shown in the trailer look similar to the concept of the ancient Chozo warriors, but far more advanced. Sexes for virgins, yeah. I didn't get to like study the trailer that much. I mostly looked for this guy right now to do the thing. I'm assuming you mean like those Chozo warriors with lances and like zero mission stuff. Although if the Chozo is kind of ambiguous, what's newer and what's older, because like the Sky City in Prime 3, which was all like robotic and automatic, was really old. But like the Chozo ruins, which were made of stone in Metroid Prime, were really recent, and the lore showed that they had like given up on high-tech technology to live in a more natural way. Also, you know, the other recent Chozo living space that we know of is the temple where Samus grew up, which is also like made of stone. It has like carvings of really ancient looking stuff, but at that point like they presumably had like regressed to lower technology stuff. So it seems like Samus' suit was actually really old probably when they gave it to her, because they weren't doing that kind of stuff at that point so much. They were living simply and being peaceful. Want to become famous by follow us primes and viewers on bigfollows.com. How do I forget how you like ban stuff. Boop. Ban. Alrighty. Gone. I'm not getting a good... Oh, there it is. Just looking for a good reference for the legs. Although, like, this leg is going to be behind the thing, so whatever. It's actually pretty complicated in some places, this design. Oh, this is also behind the feet. That's good, I get to not have to learn the design of whatever is behind his. How does that work? Okay. Whatever's behind his big, whatever you call these, the hanging cloth things. Okay. Everything's very detailed, I'll have to, in a lot of places. simplify stuff to draw in this scale. Also, I've seen everybody calling this Chozo a him, but I don't think he's been gendered before, has he? Do Chozo even have genders? True, we won't know until he get something official. Yeah. Alright. Oh, there's also the arm cannon, no. The cannon's even harder to figure out because there's no anatomy to go off of. Everything could be pretty much however he wants to look. Oh, this is behind the thing as well. Good. Less stuff for me to draw. I'm glad these things exist. I actually don't have like a super good look at this piece of his cannon. But oh well. Anyway, here we go. I should get some references for Samus to draw her from her back. Questions probably go best unanswered. I do think there was maybe a female Chozo mentioned once, was there? I don't know. Or wait, that might have been Luminoth. My memory is very fuzzy. Oh, you mean like yeah, I don't remember how Chozo referred to each other. What if Metroid and Chozo were both girls? Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to look for a reference. If I put Dread Samus back in Google Images, will it show to me? Nope. Kind of. There's one here, but it's just waist up. No. Just want a back reference. Come on. Oh crap. I think save stations, like she turns her back to go into them. Ooh, did I get it? Where is it? Nah, still from the knees up. Well, it's something. Enough to get started anyway. Alright. Anyway, Samus is not the focus. Boop, boop, boop. It's kind of a spine thing. There's this and this. Then I think it's something like this. Then we have those boots. Alrighty. Oh, there's also this. It's kind of an unreadable mess at this point, but I'll keep the reference. Alright, cool. I just want to move on to inks. I just move the whole thing a little bit to the right, and then we're going to history brush it, save it. Gosh, since this Chozo the militaristic fashion, you wanna bet the past all Chozo just looked super evil before they decided to leave behind their warrior culture. Maybe they could do like a Thor Ragnarok thing where Chozo were actually like an imperialistic superpower, and that's how they, got the wealth and resources to get all fancy, and then they decided they were going to be more wise and pacifistic after that, and just kind of buried the past. And this guy is basically like hella being like, no, we should still be imperialistic actually. He would actually have like kind of a good motivation in that sense, in that, the other shows kind of got wiped out being pacifistic. So that could be a good villain motivation. Also, he dresses in like a dorkily evil outfit because he's basically a Chozo neo-Nazi. So he's all evil looking because he's a huge poser. Yeah, the guy is terminated, but this guy is still there. Though he did then kill off more Chozo. Yeah, but I'm sure he was like, I need to kill you in order to establish a new, he probably thought those Chozo were race traders or something. But I have no idea. I mean, his motivation is completely different and he doesn't like other shows. Ugh. Yeah, I was gonna do the low symbols. Well, that was kind of fun to do that in the final art. Or just go straight to inks. So now we get to zoom in. Let's use... that was a bad zoom. The image gets all... what's the word? It gets kind of poorly compressed if you're not at either like 100, 50% zoom, 25%, basically 50% increments. Let's lower the minimum diameter to 20%. Probably they were probably thought that they were softies with no place in the Grand Empire. He wants to rebuild. He's also looking super cool so far. Thank you. Yeah, that would be the explanation if he is like a pro Chozo thing. Maybe he's just evil and wanted to kill Chozo. But that would be like a decently good motivation for a Chozo villain, I guess. Seems like kind of the obvious direction to take it. Metroid Prime has some really quiet songs. I'm going to leave the artwork pretty dirty in this one, because it looks kind of evil when you have inks that are very, uneven and bleedy. It's supposed to look like this. It's more like this. to use a little bit here. This and this. Alright. There was a spider in my neck, but I managed to get it without it biting me. Yikes. Alright. My room's full of spiders. I'm at ground level, so they just walk right in. There's so many varieties too, you rarely spot the same one twice. I'm assuming it came down from the ceiling, like how would it land on my neck? And that be the first place where I feel it. Wow, that's great. It's really not that rare for me. I keep seeing them coming down on webs. It's kind of annoying. This was a fairly tiny one, which I wouldn't have killed if I just like spotted it. But like I felt something in my neck and I touched it and I noticed like by the shape that it was a spider. Like it's different from other bugs, it's kind of rounded. It's kind of a round, soft feel when you touch a spider. Anyway, and at that point, you know, I didn't know what it was, what kind of spider it was. So I just kind of pinched it and killed it right there. Thankfully it didn't bite me in the process. But it wasn't like a big scary one. Sometimes I get like fairly creepy looking spiders that I just kill preemptively because I don't want those things hanging around here. One time I got a bite from one that like paralyzed my finger for a full day, over a day I think. Like my finger was so swollen around the joint that I couldn't really move it properly. So no, that's a pain. It also really hurt. Like right when it bit me, it hurt a lot. Like you could tell right away that I wasn't going to be good. Can't stand spiders. Yeah, that's terrifying. Yeah, I actually sent a picture of like the dead spider to a friend. Whom I could be able to tell me, you know, if that looked dangerous. But it turned out not to be such a big deal. It was just my finger that got messed up. But like that was the worst bug bite I ever got. Oh, they're not huge. Like what can I compare it to? Because I'm thinking of money, but I'm not sure if money is going to look the same everywhere in the world. Like a Mentos. Think of a Mentos. Like the bigger ones I get would look like, you know, would look like this on top of a net. Like their legs would about be the same diameter as it, and they'd be like this. Like they're not huge, but like that's about the size I think of like a brown recluse, which is the worst kind of spider we have here. And like those are pretty bad. You get necrosis if they bite you. Some people die, but it's actually not likely that a healthy person will die from one, even if it's untreated. It will probably just give you necrosis in like a bit of your body, like a big round kind of lump of flesh. Thankfully, I've never gotten bitten by one of those. But we don't have like super big spiders, and we don't have that many dangerous spiders. Like most of them are just going to be like the one that I described, where it's kind of just really annoying and painful for a while, but it's not a health risk or anything. That's really the only bad one, the brown recluse that we have over here. Yeah, we got them here too. Brown recluses suck. Yeah, they're really bad because they like to hide in tiny places, in close places. So sometimes they will hide in people's shoes when they're in the closet, and then people, take out their shoes, just put their foot in there, and they got bit by a really bad spider. So that's really crappy because there's not a lot you can do, Nobody checks their shoes every day for spiders. Isn't even that much of a, how would you even do that? You can't see, it's dark in there. You need a flashlight, light a flashlight into your shoe every day. But nobody's gonna do that. Or just own socks made out of leather or something really thick, and jam them into the shoe first so you kill any spiders, and then take them off and put again. But there isn't a practical way to do that. Hi, what's up, Orlek? There was a new Metroid trailer, and we are drawing the Chozo villain that appeared in it. I'm going pretty slow right now because I'm doing the face, and as I always say, you should spend most of your time in the stuff people are going to spend a lot of time looking at, and the face is number one on that list. Oh, I was going to draw him with this car. In the trailer, Samus shoots a super missile into his face, and he gets a face scar. Well, not a face scar because this is like a mask, presumably. We saw a more fleshy brown face for him. Saw the trailer, but it kind of ruined some surprises, I guess. Trailers nowadays could show less. But I'm not that bothered by spoilers like other people are. Usually doesn't ruin my enjoyment or something. so I didn't really mind that much personally, but yeah, I get that that's a bit much. I try to avoid trailers for games I know I want to play. Yeah, I mean, for me it's kind of almost an obligation with Metroid. I usually don't really watch game trailers, generally at all. But like YouTube at this point knows to like show me Metroid trailers, and like it was the first thing on my recommended on YouTube this morning when I opened it. Like it's not even like I watch a lot of YouTube videos of like Metroid stuff, and the soundtrack stuff that I do is always in an incognito window because I don't want like a ton of soundtracks getting suggested to me when I'm browsing YouTube for YouTube's sake. So I'm pretty sure like Twitter sold them my information or something. I don't think there are spoilers, but it would be awesome to discover that returning monster back by myself. Yeah, I guess. Like, I'm kind of fine with it, but yeah, just kind of diminishes the surprise. I only watched glimpses of the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. I want to go in blind. I only saw the really short one on the same direct. I mean, there was a really old one to show the arm thing at first, when Link was still wearing like the Breath of the Wild 1 outfit. And then there were like a few things in the Nintendo Direct that I saw. I don't know if there was another one that I missed. But yeah, I usually don't like bother that much with gaming news and trailers and stuff. I'm fine. You know, I don't see the need to be like learning about games that I haven't gotten to play yet. When they come out, I just look to see if people say it's a good game, and if they say it's a good game, then I'll, you know, try it out. No, I don't need... The trailers aren't really the way I decide if I'm going to play a game, I guess. No, this isn't really how this works. It's more like this. I wonder what originally killed Phantom. So yeah, Phantom, like the way I kind of figured was that it wasn't so much a ghost in the sense of thing that was alive and then died, but it was more of a Lovecraftian kind of extra dimensional thing that got kind of summoned, accessed into this world because of the large amount of death on wreckage ship. Yes, it doesn't look like a thing that would have been alive at any point. Like, you know, because ghosts in Metroid kind of work in the poltergeist kind of way, where like people just don't just leave ghosts because they died. I feel it's not implied that that's how it works. Ghosts are kind of scars on reality that occur in places where like a lot of people died, or there was a lot of suffering or madness or something like that. So the Chozo leave ghosts in Talon 4 because like they died through phazon induced madness over time. So they leave mad ghosts behind, and like wreckage ship presumably crashed and everybody died. So there are those suffering looking head things left behind, and like this crazy I read something, I totally like forgot my sentence. Like yeah, like Tantum was just kind of created by the chaos and suffering of like a ship full of people dying. Like there was so much ghost in the air basically that it like tapped into an eldritch extra dimensional creature. That's kind of how I imagine it. Which doesn't really justify Phantom being another M, but hey, nothing about other M is justifiable. You look awesome, Oleg. That's crazy, thank you, but I assure you, those are the opposite of awesome. Wonder what implied Krogmeyer has a ghost. Wonder that implies Krogmeyer has a ghost when he jumped out of the lava. Was a ghost. Yeah, it always seemed like they overdid it with how decomposed he was when he came back. I guess they didn't want like the gore of a creature, you know, being just half melted, breaking down the wall. So, but it's kind of silly that he breaks down a wall, and you look at him and he's like just fully a skeleton at that point. Like how did you do that? You have no muscles. No. Also, Krogmeyer has like skulls in his skull, doesn't he? No, which one has that? There's like one of the bosses just kind of has skulls coming out of their body or something. Is that Krogmeyer or is that Dragon? I always assumed that was just for the sake of scaring the players. So I never had to think about maybe this standpoint. Text to speech in universe. Yeah, I think it's just meant to be that it was almost dying and did that, but they kind of overdid it with how melted he was and having no flesh left by the time he takes down the wall. Okay, I already spent way too much time on this face. Now we get to the rest, and as we distance ourselves from the face, as we get further away from it, it's going to get, the line work is going to get dirtier and less detailed. as the lines are broader. But I don't think they'll ever, expand too much on Phantom, which is fine to just kind of leave it to interpretation. I also don't really like the retcon in Zero Mission that makes it so Wreckage Ship was a pirate ship that had been destroyed fairly recently. It's a lot cooler if it's from an unknown species and has been there for potentially a very long time. Like they probably just wanted to have like that space pirate ship session and noticed that it could just be there and then be implied to be Wreckage Ship, and like thought that Easter egg was, I don't know, thought that clicked so well that they kind of had to do it, but it really just diminishes the appeal and the interest of Wreckage Ship. There are definitely two different ships. I mean, I prefer the interpretation a lot, but it's very, very heavily implied that it's Wreckage Ship. Like, they put worker bots, like these guys you see around me, they put those, like they're originally from Wreckage Ship, they put those in the pirate ship just so it would be clear that that's Wreckage Ship. And like even Sakamoto even said, like when I was in the Wikipedia page for worker bots, or Metroidpedia, whatever, page for worker bots, I saw something that he said that they were really common model of bots that different civilizations used just to plug a plot hole that he kind of wrote himself in, where he had Chozo using worker bots in the Metroid manga, and then they were in a pirate ship in Zero Mission. So, like, he seems to be trying pretty hard for those to be. Like, I get that could mean. That could also mean that, whatever other civilization made Wreckage Ship could also have just own worker bots as well. But I feel that's just because he wanted really hard to make that be Wreckage Ship and then had to do like a weird retcon. The ship doesn't land in Meridia. Like, it's to the right of Crateria. Like, it's basically the place on top of a bunch of water. Like, there is no Meridia in Zero Mission, so Meridia would be under that. But yeah, I would much prefer it not to be Wreckage Ship, but it's very heavily implied that it is. There are also those green balls with yellow spheres around both the areas too. My dog works on Nintendo. Yeah, I prefer it not being, but I feel like that's their intention. But anyway, I played the original trilogy, ignoring later Metroid lore. If I'm playing Super Metroid, like Samus wasn't even raised by the Chozo. I don't care about that. Chozo were extinct countless 1,000 years ago or whatever. Space pirates evolved on the planet after that. Samus just has Chozo's stuff because she found it, like in the games. That's my canon when I'm playing the original trilogy. Those green balls are in both. Those green balls are actually space pirates. So, as are the mantis looking things. So, like they're in the pirate ship because they're pirates, and in Wrecked Ship you have to like assume that pirates got in there because you know, those can't be like the original pirates either. They would have died in the explosion. So, but those, you know, they aren't like native to Wrecked Ship. They're pirate things. Like if you scan them, I think they were in the pirate page in the Super Metroid manual, and if you scan them in Prime, it says that they're pirate. This is the one series that I can do the kind of nerd stuff with, like pull some random information out. But yeah. Like in Super Metroid, Wrecked Ship doesn't look anything like Pirate's Tech. Like neither the pirate tech in Super Metroid nor the pirate tech in the ship itself in Zero Mission looks very much like Wrecked Ship. Zero Mission does a weird thing with style. On cutscenes they use comic-like style, but on Samus Past they use a manga style illustration. That's true. Never really thought about that. That one cutscene with her as a kid looks a lot more manga than really the whole game, because like the backgrounds in Zero Mission are all very comic booky. Like they don't, like it was after the GBA, which originally didn't even have backlighting, so they made the backgrounds very dark and non-distinct because they wanted the game to be visually readable. But if you pay attention to them, especially like in Ridley, you can see like some columns and stuff that are very old school comic book. Which actually, again, as a kid, it was annoying, didn't like things to be different. I didn't like it so much, but grew on me. I like how Zero Mission looks. But yeah, it never occurred to me that the one cutscene wasn't really the same art style. I don't know if it's intentional. Maybe they just didn't see enough kids in a comic book style to like be able to not make it accidentally look like a manga, which is probably like more default for the people who are drawing it. Like I'm gonna stop doing head stuff for a while because I wanna do things that have sloppier lines. Probably not gonna be able to like have this out today or anything. It's probably just going to be tomorrow. I already set up an announcement of the YouTube as to tonight's post on Twitter. There are enough videos up now there. I made a proper channel banner today. I fixed the thumbnails. So I'm going to announce it because I never really, like I mentioned here on stream, but I never really posted anywhere about the YouTube. So I'm going to see if anybody's interested in that. I figure there might be people who, you know, might be willing to watch it but don't really use Twitch, so they don't click the Twitch links. Knows, maybe if I do it really like sketchy and stylized, it could look nice and be like deliverable today. Because you can give like energy to a piece. I'm going to draw a bit of it like that. And just see how I feel about it. If I don't like it, I'll just polish it. Dungeon Drift's music's very good. Make the outside lines really strong. Should I just like ink like the filled in black things in the same layer? I'll try it out. I'll do it like I was drawing, just a pen drawing in traditional art. I was drawing with a marker. I think marker is the English term. It's been I've been on a quest in search for the elusive 2DS the past 2 weeks, and I finally found one with a pretty good price. You want like a 2DS specifically, like instead of a 3DS? But my problem, like I never used the 3D in the 3DS anyway. But my problem with the 2DS was the not folding over thing. Like it's just a solid single piece. I don't know why they did that. Doesn't seem like a good idea. Yes, I already have a 3DS, but the 2DS feels so comfortable for me, really? Alright. Since it's just one piece instead of two, really? I think that was worse. Just after using the 3DS 3D like a month ago, and I kind of hate myself for waiting until after the console died. Really? I never left the 3D on that much. Just because you have to hold it in a pretty specific angle, and you know, when I'm playing a handheld, I'm usually more in like a relaxed position. So I wound up just turning it off. But yeah, there's good stuff on the 3DS. Maybe not required as much as like the DS and the GBA, but those were very hard libraries to beat. Yeah, really, it's so good. Yep. I'm trying to think of like games. Yeah, I don't think it's quite as good. Like the GBA had an amazing library. It's very hard to beat. The DS, I feel like also. DS was fun. 3DS had a lot of RPGs, I guess. By the way, I think my favorite Fire Emblem on the 3DS is actually Echoes. There's a lot I like about Awakening, but it's kind of unbalanced. Like what's called support mechanics, which they expanded on, are kind of too good. When characters who have really high support are together, they just kind of destroy the entire game. And it made it kind of easy to grind as well. Which I always liked that in Fire Emblem you had limited XP. You weren't, like, you had to use the opportunities you had to level up units. Awakening kind of gives you a lot of XP all the time. Thing is, alongside the 2DS, I also found Japanese DS Lite in mint condition with a box and everything for a good price. What's Golden Sun about? I always confuse it with the GBA game where you change when you charge a solar panel to kill vampires. Yeah, no, Golden Sun's a more straightforward JRPG. Yeah, it's called Block Tire, at least something like that. The game looks really pretty, but I never got over how like gimmicky it seemed. But I love the graphics. What is it about? I know. Yeah, like I started Golden Sun and I don't remember what it is about, like plot-wise. Golden Sun was the opposite, where I heard it was really good, but I couldn't get over the art style, which I just really didn't like. I assume more or less like typing what Golden Sun is about. I'd be interested. Nails are bigger. I pre-rendered 3D games for GBA look awful. Yeah, there were a lot of those. I think at that point in time it was probably like cheaper to get animations done that way, and they all looked terrible. Like Mario vs Donkey Kong. Like there were Spyro games like that. That style is actually kind of hard to do in a way that looks good. Like Donkey Kong Country looks really good, but the low resolution of the GBA really doesn't help it, and just in general, it felt like they were doing it because it was cheaper, not because they wanted to make it look right. Golden Sun is your typical journey to save the world, and the second game you discover that everything you've done is wrong. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before. Oops. Donkey Kong 94, the precursor of Mario vs Donkey Kong, is so cool. Yeah, it's really good. I like that one a lot better. I played like all the way through that one. Start playing it, it just looks like basically a Donkey Kong port, and like you realize you have Mario 64 kind of twist jumps and different moves, and then it turns into a really interesting puzzle game. I really don't know why they just called it Donkey Kong, because like based on the packaging and everything, it just looks like it is a Donkey Kong port for the Game Boy, but it's like way more, you know, it's worth a lot more than that, you know. Donkey Kong port would be very fast to play through, and there's actually a lot of content in that game. They basically said what I said, yeah. Yeah, it's like a puzzle platformer. And yeah, it just generally looks better too. Yeah. I don't have that many news to share. Didn't do that much yesterday. It's the thing about streaming so often. I have less to talk about. Kinda messed up my back. Taking apart what do you call it? It's an elliptical machine. I'm assuming it has like the same name in English. It's a really lame exercise machine. Which it was getting passed around because nobody wanted it for a really long time. Like my grandma bought it and then didn't want it, and then we had it for a while. I think because like my brother had a problem with his knee, so she gave it to us, but he didn't want to use it because it's terrible. Then last year my girlfriend, you know, she couldn't go to the gym and also had a problem with her knee. She couldn't go to the gym because, you know, COVID. So we just took it over to her apartment, which was pretty close to where I live. But now when she was moving, she couldn't really take it. And now she can just run again. So I was going to take it apart to just store it somewhere until we found someone who wanted it. But the thing is just impossible to take apart. It's like, I don't know I am assuming when my grandma bought it, like someone just went to her house and built it. Because it's really annoying to transport too, because a lot of moving parts, and it has very like unevenly distributed weights, so it's very difficult to take from point A to point B. So I went there to just take it apart. She's already not in that apartment, so it was just me and some tools. And that's the most difficult to take apart device I've ever seen. Like there are wires running through like the entire body of the thing, and like the way they are attached to every piece is just not like, if you look at it from the outside, the whole thing is kind of put together with screws and what do you call them? The things that hold on to screws that look like this. And those. So if you, okay, it's made to be taken apart and put back together by like a consumer. But it's actually not, because when you look inside it, there are a bunch of wires and stuff running through it. And those are held together with stuff that you need like super advanced tools to do. Like the wire was coming here, and there was like a piece of metal here with like holes, and then there was this metal wire that was like twisted into a spiral holding the two together. It's like, how did they do that, and how am I supposed to undo it? But I only found those really difficult to undo elements of it when I was already, part way through taking it apart. I kind of started with the easier stuff, the outside stuff. So I found myself in this situation where I was halfway done taking this thing apart, but all of a sudden it's going to take way more effort than I figured. I had to go way inside it in a bunch of different ways to like detach wires, stuff that was kind of meant to be done with power tools. I was just having to like distort metal with what is I don't know tool names in English. What is like this? Just can use to grip things and twist them. I actually didn't even have that. It was just an adjustable again, I don't know the terms of anything, but this guy, I was just gripping stuff and distorting like metal with this. So it took forever. And it was really annoying, and by the time I was mostly done with it, I just realized nobody's ever putting this thing back together. Like, I made sure not to break any pieces. Like I didn't want to just turn it into junk at that point. I was taking it apart, having all the pieces apart, but like the tools it would take to reassemble that thing without the manual, because we don't even have the manual for it anymore, the tools and knowledge and effort that it would take, I just realized like we already couldn't find anyone who wanted this elliptical when it was in one piece, and we had to take it apart to have any room to even store it. So I took it apart, like I had it, and I was like, nobody is ever going to put this back together. Nobody's going to like even accept it. Even as a gift, it's not worth it. Like it's worth less than nothing. Like people would pay to not have the effort to reassemble it and then have an elliptical. Nobody wants an elliptical. So after all that effort of like taking it apart and whether it was reusable, I just wound up giving it to a homeless man who he collects materials to like sell just as material. Like he collects a lot of metals and stuff like that, and he lives nearby. So I just gave it to him. He would probably, have taken it in one piece, but in the end of the day, I guess it was like still worth it because he wouldn't really have a way to transport it in one piece. It kind of takes two people to move it in one piece because the weight's so weirdly distributed. You have no way to grip it really. Not like you wouldn't have the strength to lift it, but you have no way to kind of hold it, and it doesn't fit in anything. You couldn't even put it in like a hand cart or something. It would just topple over. It's just a very weird thing to transport, very unwieldy. So at the end of the day, I just spent like an hour dismantling that thing to do a homeless man like a slight favor of making it easier to sell as scraps because that's all it's good for. And now my back's all messed up. So really that's the only story I have to tell between last stream and this one. Hey, he was grateful at least. It was like a kind of an accidental good deed. There's a little more people than usual. I wonder if people are clicking the Twitter link because it's a Metroid thing basically. Gotta have some tea. Try to not mess up my throat as much this time. Gotta hydrate. I'll try to take a bit of a break now on the weekend. Play some Hollow Knight. Just relax a bit. The bosses are probably going to be pretty good in Metroid because I feel like that was one of the best things in Samus Returns. Like the combat was pretty good, the bosses were pretty good. And Metroid doesn't historically have great bosses. Like, I'd say it's pretty easily the worst part of Super Metroid. And the other ones, you know. Like Metroid 1, the bosses are pretty terrible as well. Because like Kraid is really annoying and Ridley is just a joke. Mother Brint can also be kind of frustrating, like it's a kind of difficulty, like getting knocked into lava over and over. It's a kind of a frustrating kind of difficulty. I feel like it got better. Fusion and Zero Mission have like decent bosses. But Samus Returns was pretty good, and it was pretty good with very little to work with. Because the game kind of required you to be constantly fighting the different forms of Metroid. So they couldn't really populate the game with a lot of bosses without making it just kind of a boss fight game. Because they were already kind of required to have the Metroid fights. And the Metroids really just weren't designed as interesting bosses, you know, they were designed for Metroid 2 as things that you killed pretty straightforwardly. They were really awkward to fight in Metroid 2. So turning those into good fights was like a challenge for both Samus Returns and another Metroid 2 remake. They both did a pretty decent job of it. Another Metroid 2 remake went on a more simple approach for most of them. Like the early Metroids were still very quick fights, like in Metroid 2 they just made it work a little bit better. Made the movement a lot more dynamic. But Samus Returns made more elaborate fights out of most of the forms. It was pretty decent. I also like how they didn't just make one variant for each form, they've had the forms gradually introduce new moves as you fight them over and over again. But the later ones you fought, you would just do some new stuff. So now getting to work with completely original bosses that we can design from the ground up. It's probably going to be a lot better. I'm considering making Samus kind of a silhouette in some way, so she stands more apart from him. But I'll see. This doesn't make a lot of sense lighting wise. Now the hair just looks kind of overly detailed, but I'll change it to fit this style, because I kind of like this style more. Kind of wasted a lot of time. I could have gone more straight to this. Like, I like my art when it's looser, but I keep just not going for it. Like, I feel like it's more dynamic usually. Sorry if you guys are hearing a dog barking. You probably are, because the microphone really up to the volume a lot because my voice was low. Soundtrack's really good. Again, the further away I go from the face, the more I'm cool with the lines being pretty dirty. I guess I'll decide how rendered Samus depending on how much time we have left when I get there. Small like this. My connection went off, but I'm back. What's up? Accelerating things over here. Yeah, we're moving pretty fast now on this style. I'm going to have to adapt the early stuff more to it. But I'll keep some detail on the face because that's good to have. Yeah, okay. I feel like it looks integrated now. Do you have your 3DS unlocked? What exactly does unlocked mean? I already said at other stream that I legally purchased every single 3DS game. That's why I can play all of them in my 3DS. I can say that my 3DS is physically identical to any other original model 3DS. I can neither confirm nor deny any assumptions made about my 3DS. You can see that I bought second-hand 3DS, which was perfectly ordinary. And then played a lot of games in it. I did with mine, but just to take screenshots. You know, if you want to install something just to have like custom themes for your 3DS also. No, nothing wrong with that. And then that may or may not allow you to also execute other programs on your 3DS. I love when jailbreaking processes. I saw one thing about how people did it on the Wii, where they would use a glitch in Twilight Princess to start the code insertion process. Like they would jump off a weird place in Twilight Princess that would like crash the game in a way that they could then like insert code from the, I don't remember what it was, maybe a flashcard. Anyway, it's pretty silly when like, because these consoles, you know, they're made to never execute code they're not meant to. But then they find weird ways to do that. The 3DS has a weird submarine game that's free in the digital shop. That's like poorly coded, where that it can be used for code insertion as well. Brawl mods like Project M. You like pass the mod as a stage file, and then when you open like Stage Creator, it kind of crashes the game, and you just see a bunch of code for a while, and then it just kind of reboots. But now taking some, like, reading the SD card and substituting any files the SD card have over the game files. R4 flash cards are pretty expensive here after the pandemic. Really? I don't know what R4 means, but the 3DS, at least the original model of 3DS, only takes pretty small SD cards. I think is only like up to 2 gigs. I think the Wii too only took tiny SD cards. I realized they did a reflection in kind of different heights of these shoulder pads, and it looks weird. Before you could find them for $8 US, but now they're like 40 US. Thanks. My brother did that 4 years later. I saved up a lot of money to buy other M, but it didn't work because of this update. Yeah, that's a thing. Most of these kind of jailbreaky things don't allow you to update things after that. So if you do it, you're kinda saying, okay, I want the games before this point, but nothing that comes out after. So then you can play it until Christmas, when my brother brought an external mod to attach to the Wii. Then I was severely disappointed. Yeah, I mean, I didn't play Other M for years after it came out, because like it looked bad from the beginning, and then it came out and people were like, yep, it's quite bad. So I was like, okay, cool, then I'm not gonna play it. Like, I didn't feel any obligation towards, you know, the series just because it was my favorite game series. Like, I don't have to play the new games. Then, you know, many years later, I just played it kind of out of curiosity, more as like an academic thing almost, rather than wanting to play a good game, because I knew it wasn't. And I did play it. And you know, it's very, very bad for a Metroid game. And it has a lot of like pretty stupid ideas inside it, and the plot is dumb. But like, if it wasn't a Metroid game, the plot wouldn't like be especially dumb for a Japanese game. Like, it has kind of a stupid anime plot with bad acting, like of the level that you'd usually see in like dubbed Japanese games, which aren't like especially well made. So in terms of dumb plot, it was probably on the level of, you know, your average JRPG. Dumb plot, bad dialogue, you know, obnoxious main character, kind of the level of your average JRPG. And the combat's actually okay. It has a lot of really interesting solutions to stuff. It's very minimalistic, gameplay wise. You know, there are interesting ideas there. But it kind of clashes with the older Metroid mechanics. Like, the game really doesn't feel like it should even be a Metroid game. Like, you can recharge your missiles fairly quickly. You didn't know it was going to be bad, really? Were you like actively avoiding any kind of like commentary about it? Because I feel like, you know, I remember IGN gave it like a 9 point something. That was the year, 2010 was the year I totally stopped reading gaming news, because they gave really high scores to Metroid Other M and Final Fantasy 13. And then like the same year they were like writing articles about why those games were bad. Like, because then, you know, the fan bases told them it was bad, but they didn't have, like, they basically never give a less than excellent score to a franchise that has fans, because they are afraid of the fans and they don't feel able to like judge a game. If like people tell them that Metroid and Final Fantasy are good games, they can't tell the difference between the good and bad ones. They just kind of trust that that is the common wisdom and regurgitate it. so they couldn't tell that those games were awful. Then people told them it was awful, they were like, oh, okay, let's write about how awful they were. So yeah, they're pretty useless. Like mainstream gaming news, there are like more individual people who with actual, defined taste making good game reviews and news stuff. But yeah, IGN, GameSpot, etc., that kind of stuff. I just stopped back then, which is now 11 years ago. So that's why I'm not super up to date on gaming news. Because even back then there were people like Zero Punctuation, like Yahtzee was probably like the first person really doing that. Who was like a person with a really specific taste that wasn't just talking about like the graphics of the games and how many more guns there were this time. And who was able to have an opinion that wasn't like the common sense, like the consensus on the average gaming public. So even though like I disagree with him in a lot of stuff, I always really liked his reviews a lot more. For some stuff, like I wouldn't even watch it. Like I wouldn't watch him reviewing a fighting game because it's not the type of game that the guy enjoys or really sees much of a point in. So I wouldn't care. But if it was like a Western RPG or something, then I'd be interested in hearing like a non-bullshit review of it. Because like he was able to like look at a central mechanic of the game and say like whether or not he thought it worked in like it actually worked, like it actually made the experience of the game interesting in any way. That's just not something that mainstream game reviews back then would do. I don't know now, I assume still not. Like you'd see the alignment mechanic in Bioshock, where you get to make a decision of whether you want to like kill the little girls to take their materials that like let you be more powerful, or where you want to spare them, right? A game review website at the time just wouldn't say like, hey, this makes no sense, this isn't like a role-playing element that has any value, because even if you spare them you end up like getting the same amount anyway, and like killing a child for profit isn't like an interesting moral choice that people might make, and the game doesn't actually press you to do that at all, because you can pretty easily beat the game like with very little of that stuff. Like when I played it, I wasn't even using it after a while. I didn't want the power-ups anymore. Especially because telekinesis just completely breaks that game in half, and I played it on hard mode the first time, and telekinesis still just completely destroys everything. But anyway, like they wouldn't evaluate something on an essential level. They would tell you if they saw a bug one time, or if the camera was kind of annoying, but they wouldn't look at a concept that tries to like explore a theme and say this doesn't explore this theme effectively. Like that kind of criticism was just completely outside the realm of what mainstream gaming news were even like, what would even occur to them to talk about. They were trying to talk about, graphics, whether or not the game was kind of buggy. Like, I don't know, maybe they got in a car once and it was fun. Like, it was very, very surface level stuff. it doesn't seem to have changed over time, because a few years ago there was the meme that I thought was very illustrative of the 7.5 out of 10 too much water thing. I don't remember what the actual score was. Anyway, it was the Gen 3 remakes of Pokemon, and IGN had switched to a format where they would like rank the good and bad aspects of the game and next to the score, and one of the negative aspects of Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was there's too much water, which really shows like how inarticulate and infantile like their attempts to describe what makes a game good or bad is. Like, you know what they mean, probably. Like the game, like I didn't play the remakes, but based on the original Ruby and Sapphire, the game relies a lot on HMs, and there are like compounded water-based HMs with dive and waterfall and whirlpool, where you kinda need to have an HM slave doing that all the time, and it can be kind of obnoxious to just be dealing with those HM things one on top of the other because it's all in the environment of water. But that's not how you articulate that point. Like, they weren't able to like say what was wrong. Too much water says nothing to a new viewer. A game can take place entirely in water and be good and varied and not frustrating in any way. What are you talking about? Water has no gameplay meaning in and of itself. It says nothing about the experience. Like, what you thought when you were playing was too much water, yes, because you understood the gameplay implications of water. Kind of, or at least like you felt them but were completely unable to articulate them. But to a reader that means nothing. So it felt very representative of how completely unable to say what's good and bad about the game they are. I really don't know how they hire people. Like, it feels like it's impossible to exist on the internet without being subjected to video game opinions from people. You know, everybody's talking about stuff they like. A lot of people like to talk about video games. People who like to talk about video games very often have like very thought out preferences and beliefs about the medium. It's a very common thing. Where do they get these people who can't articulate what they like or don't about games at all? What's the selection process? Like, I don't even mind so much the thing that people also meme a lot about when it comes to like how bad at video games a lot of games journalists are. Because really, you know, the average gaming public just isn't hardcore gamers anymore, you know? And game journalists should probably be, in my opinion, representative of the average gaming public. So there can be like a couple of really hardcore ones, but most of them should be people who will engage in games with games in the level of the average person. Otherwise, you know, games that are aimed at a more hardcore audience will just be the ones that are considered good, and then people will read good reviews and go play them and not really enjoy them because they aren't able to play them, you know, they're harder to get into. So I get that most of them shouldn't be hardcore gamers, but it is kind of impressive how clueless they tend to be. as well, but I have less of a problem with that than I do with, you know, whatever your skill level, whatever kinds of games you like. If you're a games journalist, if you're a games reviewer, you should be able to articulate what works and what doesn't about the experience. You should be able to have opinions that are your own and have the liberty to voice them even if they are not the most popular consensus opinion about that one game. I always had the same with Kotaku. I never really read Kotaku. Are they like really unable to articulate what they like about the game? But I kind of just generally felt that about mainstream game stuff in general. I feel like game trailers was slightly less terrible. Like their reviews I remember finding less obnoxious than like IGN's or GameSpot or whatever. But that's, you know, a decade ago. I have no idea of the state of the whole gaming press. It was hilarious though when like the Gamergate stuff was going on, and they kept like the meme was that, you know, they were harassing random women and they kept saying it was about ethics in games journalism and like, what ethics in games journalism? When was there ever ethics in games journalism? What are you talking about? Like, it's an industry with people reviewing games where like all of the advertising in the websites is from game companies and they completely depend on access from game companies to trailers and materials in order to have all of their content. So basically the people who they are reviewing are their employers. Pretty much 100% of their income comes from the people they're reviewing. Of course, there was never ethics in games journalism. What are you talking about? It was comical how they were completely in the pockets of big publishers. And then you're worried because like one guy had sex with like a game developer once and then said that her indie game was good. And like that sparked the whole harassment campaign. So yeah, we lost all the integrity that games journalism used to have, all their great, unbiased, honest reviews. Yes, but I also feel they launched the news or articles with very hasty or underdeveloped thinking. Probably a lot of news organizations are on that mode, like even like mainstream new organizations, like stuff just moves so fast. The stuff that people were clicking on, like the, you know, the thing that everyone's talking about just changes so fast. They need to have an article in like 5 seconds after something happens, so they just write out like a paragraph of nothing. And you know, they often there's like stuff that's just wrong because they just saw it on Twitter and didn't have like time to properly check the sources. So the article is like, people were saying that blah 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 blah, and you know, I can fucking confirm it because it just, right now all that exists is like 2 tweets about it from an account with no followers, but people are talking about it, so I gotta have an article. And then it turns out to be like complete nonsense. I had to check out for a second. In general, it's looking crisp. Thanks. Yeah, I like the kind of fast, inky style. I want to do it a lot. I might actually like post this as a work in progress today, like as I exit this stream, just with the inks, so that I can like polish it up a little bit and do like a colored version tomorrow. That might be the way to go. But I also think like games journalism is really unnecessary. Like the thing they do all the time is like publish screenshots and trailers and stuff. And developers and studios right now are just able to get stuff out there like by themselves. Like, you know, you no longer need a magazine or like a website to like host their images or whatever that they post. They can just have a social media presence and that does it, and people will just share it around, like it will make it to people who are interested. And when it comes to reviews, there are plenty of people on YouTube and other places just freely sharing their opinions, and you can just follow people whose opinion you respect rather than have like a website where it's a different person writing every time, so you can really like keep track of all of their tastes and personalities. Even before like I fully stopped checking gaming news, I was already like mainly, I had found a couple of like reviewers who just have their YouTube channels or something, and I would check them. I feel like that's a lot better. Like opinions on whether things are good or bad don't have to be a commodity. People are usually like willing to share them just because they feel like it. So games journalism is pretty obsolete in my opinion. I don't think it needs to exist. Like it would be cool if people who are very well versed in games could like make a career out of talking about them, but I feel like that's more likely to happen via them having their own social media presence with stuff like YouTube than by being employed by a publication. Because once there's the publication in place, then you have all those interests that are going to make them biased, in that they want access from the publisher, so they want to be in friendly terms with the publisher, so it helps to give their games good reviews, you know. They're not going to want to show the, you know, the exclusive first pick at gameplay from the next shoot man to the website that gave them a bad review last time, because they want the article written about it to just be gushing over all the new guns. So, you know, it pays to be just no thoughts head empty about the whole thing. While an individual guy will generally, like his business will generally like live or die on his personal reputation. So there is more of an incentive to, you know, be honest with your reviews. Why does his headdress have to be so elaborate? I'm not a fan. It isn't even accurate, like I'm simplifying it and it's still okay. How much tea do we still have? A little bit. I'm going to take a very fast bathroom break. And I still don't know how to play commercials here, but oh well. I'll just leave it higher. And I'm back. Alright. Let's get this done. We're almost there. Unfortunately, there's also the cannon to worry about. Maybe I'll do like everything but to the cannon. We'll see. Actually, I want to do some of this here. Some kind of Jack Kirby flash lines. Jack Kirby like to do like muscles and tissue just looking almost like stone. He's a comics artist, by the way. Yeah. I'm actually really liking this. Probably a lot more than if I hadn't done it cleanly. If I could work more today, I'd get it done, but I'm going to have dinner with my girlfriend, so I have a pretty hard cut off, and we're close to it. Another Brain Team remix, is it? I don't know. What track is this, I wonder? 234 234, blah 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 blah. It was the Metroid Prime team, so maybe they like took some elements of Mother Brain scene. I'm not that great with music, so I can really pick up on like nuances and little elements being brought back from another team. But it would make sense. What's up, Neon? You're drawing the Chozo guy that was in the Metroid trailer today. What's up? Kinda nearing the end of the stream, but I'm trying to finish his inks before I have to go. Hey Eric, thanks for the follow. What's up? Where did you come from? Are you on Twitch or did you come through Twitter? I have 2 streams open, this will be chaos. Well, I should do that kinda regularly. I've never really done it because it sounds a bit busy. I usually want to stream on because I want something kinda relaxed. So 2 seems like not so relaxed. Bird talons from the front. Not something that I have like super wide experience in drawing, but still better than human feet. This was human feet, or was this not going to be done today? Music stays louder. Yeah, I think it's because we just got to the final boss team. So let's have it go down. Like it was fun before, but that's the thing about full soundtracks. They don't have like an even volume. Generally, if you get like relaxing songs from blah blah blah, that's usually when it's well done. The songs will usually be more on the same level. I have really bad reference for his feet too. There's like one time for a couple of frames you can see his feet in the trailer. People on the feet wiki are going to have a hard time compiling this one. Don't remember if that's the name of the thing, but that's, at least I've heard jokes about it. That there are like people who compile feet from like celebrities and stuff. And they have their own wiki or something. make it louder. I want my speaker to go. Well, yeah, that'll be kind of tough. I could like make all my sound, like max out the volume for sound alerts, and then just make all the sounds kind of low except for one. Make your speakers louder. I'm assuming they're already maxed out, but it's just not enough to blow them out. It's also great when something has like sections like this, like when it has lines going perpendicular to it, because your foreshortening can suck and you can still tell what angle stuff is because the lines just show it really quickly. It's like, yeah, it's okay that I didn't do it properly. Alrighty, this one should be a bit easier, it's not so much from the front. I think this is like, I don't know if you went back from the beginning, or if this is like the credits version of the song. No, I was already on max, yeah, I figured. And my microphone's already like on max sensitivity and with the maximum amount of amplification that Windows will allow. And this is how not loud it still is for some reason. Thankfully his feet are really dark, so like it will just kind of merge together a lot. And I don't have to be that detailed about it. Yeah, I think that's the credits version of the song. A certain browser extension allows you to make certain tabs louder up to 600%. Really? Didn't know that was a thing. I don't know why normal volume settings stop at 100%. Sometimes stuff is low and it's like, can't you just amplify it? It's nice, there's like this Chozo guy, Neon asked what's the Haven't seen the Dread trailer. What is it looking like? It looks pretty good. I mean, it's hard to tell like important things about a game from the trailer, right? I mean, sometimes I guess it is possible, but in this case, you know, you see some power-ups, you see some areas, like it looks fine. You don't know if the game's actually well structured based on that. But the most important thing that there was is this big Chozo guy, who was like, you know, it was already pretty much assumed that the Chozo who killed a bunch of other Chozo in the memories from Samus Returns was going to be the villain for this one. And now you see... Just gonna watch it in a second moment, so yeah, go for it. You see him basically in like a power armor similar to Samus, but he's super evil. I said he basically looks like Chozo Ganondorf. I actually just noticed he 100% uses Ganondorf's side B from Smash Bros. On Samus at the end of the trailer. Not even at the end. I guess he kind of cuts back to it at the end, I don't remember now. But he uses it. Yeah, I just realized that. I don't know if that's subconsciously what made me think he looks like Bird Ganondorf, but yeah, he does Ganondorf side B. They're trying to make it easy to make him a Ganondorf clone in Smash. By the way, bad bird for Smash. Which will be my name for him until he has a name. He or she, I guess, or they, or it. I don't know how shows work. Do you think the X are still alive? I heard people saying that, but I really only saw I only saw the 2 trailers where there was nothing about X. But didn't Nintendo like tweet something saying that there was going to be X in this game? Seems like a lot. There was no... Like, you'd think the X being in a game would immediately make it really relevant in the game. It'd be weird for it to be a small thing. But I don't know. I guess it could be in the game in the way that like Metroids are in Metroid Prime, where they're not very important, but they're there, just kind of saying, hey, I exist. The game can be called Metroid because I am here. But people have my pizzas done. Cool. I'll make this presentable as a work in progress real quick. Then over the weekend we'll have this, and now I promise I'll have you guys dolls. I meant to do them, but I didn't have the time. There were things happen. You can never, I don't know, be without things happening. They will generally happen. I'm brain farting more than usual. Maybe this is what happens when you stream every weekday. How many people have told you Law's idea you've yet to draw? Actually only 2, I think. Or 3. Is it 2 or 3? I don't know. So not like a lot. Most of the gift subs probably from Mako probably don't even know they have a sub yet. They'll have to drop in and like notice it. It will be in their notifications anyway. Oh, and it took just a little bit longer. Oh, weirdly there's a bunch of silence, I guess, at the end of the soundtrack. So it took just a bit longer than the soundtrack. That's too bad. We almost... Yeah, they do get notification. I forgot that for a second. That's how I found out that I got a gift sub for a channel I never really watched. But I can use the emotes now. Let me do some emotes. Beep, beep, boop, boop, bop. Look at all the emotes from this channel that I don't know. But they're okay. But I feel weird because they're all like the face of someone that I never really watched. I have obtained pizza. It's my favorite Ninja Turtles catchphrase. Yes, I have obtained pizza. I will now consume it. Dudes. I never really watched the Ninja Turtles, but I played the video games. A couple of them. Turtles in Time was okay. I played a while back with my girlfriend, and like I remember it being pretty impossible in single player, but in like 2 players, like we got to the boss in our first attempt, but then the final boss is just completely ridiculous. Like maybe there's like a trick to beating him that I just didn't figure out, because the way he works, like he teleports around, and then he does like a thing that is like an energy shield around him, and then he does like a Hadouken thing. And there's no point in the process where I could like damage him. So I just never figured it out, and we just both died. And we got there like with like 2 lives each. So there wasn't that much time to learn, but he just kind of destroyed us really quick, and we couldn't hurt him. He was invincible. I have obtained the substance people call food. I shall now commence consuming it. Michael from the Ninja Turtles. Yes. These cannons are wrong. I'm just gonna do like a very sketchy version of the cannon. And then I'll fix it when I do the rest of it. I guess. No, this is fine. Then it's like this. And the red thing would be like behind Samus. I want to do like we use the glowy of the cannon, because it also has like big tubes coming out of it, which are also glowy. Let me see who that is. Alright. I'm going to use that to make like Samus backlit, so I can make her just kind of an outline. You know? I'll just do it like this. Would that look okay? Maybe, kinda, not really. I just need to like do something. I need to have something here. Just holding, just a placeholder. So it doesn't look weird. There's the whip. There's like a million little boops, and yeah, there's like tubes coming out of the side of it. No, this is supposed to be up. I don't know. So placeholder anyway. So bleh. Who cares if it looks terrible and wrong and doesn't make any kind of geometrical sense? It is fine. Alright, so my friends are here today, and one of them asked why is my Twitter likes are drawing characters often with big boobs. My answer is yeah. Why my Twitter likes are drawings of characters often with big boobs. Oh no, I just found a DSi for a good price and I need to restrain myself. I don't know what's up with buying consoles you already have. Like me buying one console one time is already like a huge leap. As for characters with big boobs, yeah, I sometimes ask that of the people I follow. It's kind of funny that like there are a lot of characters, a lot of artists that draw like really safe for work stuff, like they draw like cutesy stuff or whatever, and then you follow them and then like their likes start showing up and it's just giant anime tits. Okay. Surprised by that. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to duplicate this bit. I'm going to erase the Chozo and leave only Samus. And I'm going to up her opacity so people can actually see where she's going to be. Yeah. I'm actually going to do some really simple lines here because we are coming up, like the clock is ticking. We only have a couple of minutes to end the stream. I hope I have someone I follow to raid, because if not, I might just drop you guys, sorry. I'll try. I'll at least take a look at the art session. Boop. Okay, I forgot to do the top thing that looks kind of like this. Anyway. Almost there. We are at the very end of the path. I don't know. Cool. Now should I do some shading on the cape? I'll just use the Samus layer to try it out. Nah, I just kinda... I'll just use a dark color in coloring. This just kinda makes it less readable. So yeah, this is going to be the whip that I'm going to post today. Do you know sketches? No, not really. You could rate them. I only have Eric besides them, but you rated him yesterday. Let's Google this or something. Okay, so they do like tipsy stuff. Seems appropriate. Alright. Sure, let's do it. Slash. Thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. Sorry for the kind of running out, but I really stretched my time here. So, hope you guys had fun. Thank you for joining me, and see you all next time. Bye.